all for being here. Um, I guess with that, then here's my prompt for everyone. My second book, I really looked at my namesake, Frederick Douglass. And so I would say, write a poem about your name or naming, how you got your name, how your name gets passed down, passed on. Are you named after someone famous? Um, are you named? How did you acquire that name? And maybe you've even changed it, shortened it, or somebody added something extra to it, and inhabit all of those personalities of your name. There's your prompt. And I practice what I preach, so I'll read a poem about my name coming up. But first, I'm very honored to be here, and I want to read a poem for Elena, who I share the stage with, the Zoom stage with. Um, this is a poem she really championed to get published, and I really appreciate that. And whenever it comes out, it will come out. But just how it fell on your eyes, Elena, you gave me a lot of hope for it, and you know, it just goes to show when something you write about even could be silly at first, and then it could just manifest into something else, right? And all of you probably remember when we were down here 3.5 years ago, Southern California, we were infested by ants, right? As if it was like a precursor to the pandemic, and ants were everywhere. I lived in South Pasadena, and so I was talking to several poets, and we were all having the same problem. And it was like, well, let's all try our hand at writing about ants. And this is my swipe at it. Here we go. This is called Ants, Etc. You lost the maple butter, lost half an apple out for only 30 minutes, lost all the snacks, the snacked upon boxes and their open smell, invitation for long rows of ants, persistent in orderly and refined terror, working colony in unison to drive your family to goosebumps, tears, madness. Ants and their tiny tingle keep you restless and ruthless. You're the cold killer with spray and dish towels, a mini vac, and a mind set on elimination. Forget this vessel's routine or history. Forget legend and how these Miramons could be led into battle to fight the good fight for once. Retain enough of their short loyalty and strength to rearrange your living spaces, stack and organize books, or clean the kitchen. Put faith in their limbs and the way they scramble in a pattern resembling an ampersand, the quick scribble of a symbol suggesting closer, or in this case, on the way, which is to say, are the ants more than the little fucks you rebuke? Do they represent your dead father, his recurring drunk questions, or his dutiful ways? The ants as your dead mother, queen of demands and cleanliness in a fury. These little creatures, their collaborative efforts, have been known to form thick loops conquering obstacle and predators. Consider this feat in particular as one for your people, their salvation. Symbolic creatures have merit that eats high blood pressure and diabetes away to nothing. Communion in a multitude of shapes and sizes. But when Joseph shows you the video offering a means of purging the pests, block their transformation with the bowl of green poison the video records. Loads of ants attracted to its sweet death. Those are dead bodies, Joseph says, pointing to the piles of black non-living, piles of dead on dead. You both stare And this is not about your folks or your lineage. It is not a Volta or Dali's theme of rotting time, not Achilles, his army of brothers, nor his wandering friend ever seeking home. Nor is it about suffering or humane ways to deal with infractions or felonies. It's about obliterating ants, ants, and only ants. You have time for your bad teaching to make connection when there aren't any. Right now, heat dries all, and another invasion beckons. Thank you. Thank you. And thank you, Elena, for your belief in that poem. Obad with edits. So this Elena asked me about a new manuscript that I'm working on. It's called The Gospel of Listening. And the book starts off with a lot of obads. I mean, for lack of the reduction here, the poems are all really interested in my mother who passed away 4 years ago. And so it looks at grief and recovering from grief and ways we recover from grief. And so the book opens with a series of obads. And as all you know, an obad is a mourning song of love. Obad with edits. Both terrible storytellers. Both bad with a punchline too. Bad with the tale, short, long, or otherwise. Both a little bit of college and plenty of experience. My parents, their hands told on them, and they're cooking enough to keep mouths too busy to talk, but not for lies, gold-plated lies. Yes, still waiting for Jordans or a Walkman, and please, no knockoffs. No, Mom, not the fakes. No, it's not the same as the others, Dad. Oh, edits. Oh, tweaks that transcend trouble. You neither fake nor fib when half awake in the new light, when parents revise stories or future visions so a paycheck opens wider than my busy begging mouth. Edits, not lies, when Dad dies alone, broke to the bone. His version, better than all unforeseen costs, death accrues. Edits, unheard requests or complaints from Mom's eyes, her last month tongue entangled, unable to spin or spend even a nickel's worth of lies. Oh, edits, the sun's up, cutting sleep and dream with light and heat, and I do nothing while narratives move along the ceiling. Soon I will tell the lie to the mirror, to my shoes and car keys, to my kiss goodbye wife, and to my nosy coworker, and to lunchtime and the commute and home again, to my kiss hello wife and baby too. Back to sleep and dream so my parents can visit with new things to say. I'm going to read, as I mentioned, I'm named after Frederick Douglass. And I wrote this book, Icon, really looking at Frederick Douglass and looking at ways that were connected to my name. But I think I'm going to read some poems really just on Douglass and the ways to approach this. What I did was I did some ekphrasis work. So there you go. There's another writing prompt there for you. Find an image that you like and a painting or sculpture and write a poem about it, right? And so I'm named after Frederick Douglass and always struggled with that. And luckily, when I decided to write about it, there are so many people who have written about it. And since it's almost Poetry Month, what I decided to do one Poetry Month was to write these 30 poems about Douglass, right? And what happened was that I stumbled on the paintings of Jacob Lawrence, the Harlem Renaissance painter, who early in his career did these series of paintings. His first big series of paintings were on Frederick Douglass and Harriet Tubman. And so he did like 32 some odd paintings on Douglass. And I was like, oh, this is perfect for a 30 for 30. All those who have participated in a 30 for 30 can understand that about at 15 out of 30, you start losing the steam, right? And I'd already anticipated that. And I was like, well, here it is. Jacob Lawrence has these paintings. I'll just kind of push through it and so on. And so luckily, though, Douglass is more, is one of the most photographed person in the 19th century, even more than Mr. Lincoln here. And so what I decided was not only to write about the paintings, but also include the photos that Douglass was so fond of. And so this is called daguerreotype circa 1843. Circa July. Wavy high heat in my hair, curls for a girl named Rosetta, and two boys, Lewis Henry and Frederick Jr. Their names, stars and fireworks, guiding me by night to safe passage. Faster than a horse by day, my children's laughter, free to romp and gallop. And so I proceed. Circa August. My shoulders slump from this freedom. The wait for a runaway picks up wind and worry. How to help fires off my tongue. Every day this month, I will call out until a slave answers. Here I am. Circa 1843. The year of the 67th Independence Day. What do I have to commemorate? Liberty is my white shirt and black overcoat covering my flayed skin. Slavery's fingerprints etched into my refusing and forgetting. I am only recently freed, and memory shackled by this sham. Circa Syracuse. I am less than 2 trains and a boat away from my Baltimore slave quarters, but might as well be on the Cleveland or on the overland trails searching for Oregon or the hills of Scotland or in Ireland doing a jig or hunting pheasants. Distance will not detour or distract my doings. Not a noose, nor leather straps will keep me held. My tongue has the will of my back. My tongue stirs the sea of thousands. Someone will join my gaze. This steadfast stare moves towards you, brothers and sisters, and I am coming to get you all. I think I have time for one more. Okay. So this is called Free Hymns. Oh, and I should have said this. So this is from the Douglass series. This is the 15th panel of that Lawrence series. Free Hymns. I am a sailor. I am a skiff jetting across the black stream. Sail me without selling me. Send me into legend, I am free. Not a Bailey, not a Johnson. New York will take me as I am, just a man with swollen hands and tired fingers, dirty and cramped, but free. She is there to cling on to my courage, there to bear fruit. We grow and gather together. A bag of potatoes or roots of good fortune, ours in matrimony, free to eat or share. The sky is kind and watches with warmth or with rain, rinse the dust and heal my bruises. There are marks that will not dissolve. Indented pain will pass on to my kin. I can be a friend again to my blood, free to hold him tight into me. I am the isle and lake, Douglas by day, Douglas by night, Douglas the safe water, gathered in a bay or bottle, the responsibility of freedom inked in my name. Oh, okay. Good. Thank you all. Let's see. I have the series of poems. So mostly I've been writing these long poems, and I don't want to read a long poem right now at this point, but some of the poems really are dealing with, again, like fatherhood, like you mentioned earlier, Elizabeth, and what I learned from my mother. But a couple of years ago, I went out to Detroit and I learned something a lot about my son, who is a farmer. And so this is called Unearth, and this is for him. Unearth. Son, I spent time in a Detroit field, side by side, some students tending to the chances for sweet potatoes and quinoa. Here, so much coexisted, discussions and differences, heart-shaped and long grassy leaves, stalks before threshing. Here, an imposter weeds stealthy composure, assertive until called out. You fake as hell. Son, one weed at a time, down the row. What was I uprooting? What daydream deep within me unearthed the plea for your forgiveness? Out of dirt, all the stare downs a father throws towards a boy's heart lodged within my fingernails. Son, you've told me soil heals, and yet I have traveled to a place where approval dwells amongst the discarded and the repurposed to finally hear you. Tell me about Nani or Pawpaw. Son, so much thrives in Detroit. Every day, someone offers a seed. Did I tell you I cried halfway down the line? Tears making more weeds and more tending to. Never ending, you'll tell me later, and we'll laugh. Yes, yes to what's collected, and yes to what rinses too. Yes, the dirt is good for you. Yes to dinner, hot and ready. Thank you all. Really appreciate all of you being here, and I'm excited to hear you, Elena. Thank you. Thank you, Jerry and Elizabeth, for putting this on.
Interweaving, and I'm going to use my past Omnidon book as an example of this. Is I had made up a whole series of poems where I just randomly sampled like some very small snippets of lines from other writers, artists, whoever, and wrote them out on a pad of paper. And then I always used one of that person's line, and the artist should be in the title. And then I used it to launch basically like a dialogue or a conversation or a call and response with their lines, because I believe that language does engender more language. It inspires us. It sort of gets our mind going, and it's a great warm-up tool too, because sometimes when we adopt other language that's out of context, it creates a new fresh context for us, and it also sort of pulls out memory. Pick some lines of a writer or an artist or someone that inspires you, and respond to it as if you've already started the conversation, and and you're talking about something that's to do with loss, and that somehow in this dialogue you're gaining some more understanding of that thing. I know that sounds abstract, but I could give more examples. But when Douglas was talking about identity, and I was thinking, identity is constantly changing. It is something that our identities, hinge to our childhood, our family. It's hinged to our, the social world, the cultural world, historical world, and inevitably it just means that we're inseparable from that. That even if we're not directly engaging with another, we're still engaging somehow. And so I feel like with every reading that I do and every reading that I post or whatever it is, I feel like I'm continually learning something. And that's the gift of what we get as artists. So I'm excited. And thank you so much, Jerry and Byrne and Elizabeth and Valley Contemporary Poets, LA Poets and new directors, for having me. This is exciting. And it's one of my first readings for this book, If This Makes You Nervous, which Douglas, you may or may not remember, they're all ekphrastic poems, but I've included in most of the poems, I've included something about childhood. So I'm going to start with, because Doug ended with a poem about his son, I'm going to start with a poem about my son. And my son, who is gender fluid, and there's an artist named Martin Gutierrez. You can look him up online. And I say that because the artist likes to represent themselves as both and in their work. And it's quite amazing, stunning work. So this is a Martin Gutierrez triad for my Dylan Tara. Angel, are you drowning? And the references are really references to Gutierrez's work, just so you know. Angel, are you drowning your bed sheets, song skins in the moon's pool water for a better muse for a body in thrall? We wake against feeling like worn party undergarments, torn out and garden buried, cut fruit thrown at the foot of the front wood door, their fire candied colors crushed from an insect's head. To be deity desire, polished chrome or coughed up sun, occupied by breath is everything. As if otherwise was a beauty choice every tribe recognizes. I'm my son, the girl he wants to be. So kiss these genders in us. Find each naked mannequin twin in the crowd. A fish mask breeding under our dining table, downing all the last light. We're just one flame thrown, tied hair to leaves and to feathers, and for a pierced, jewelry hungry face, knowing perfection will always be sexless. I'd cross over again and again any day to make her feel safe, crawl inside a carved base of a tree, meet the wet anemones brooding for its pink and green axle revolving in the sea's seat place. Let him be her, them, in the vice versa, be uncured of expectation for wild dancing. Hands up. We're original owner of this one body, and I want you to see it. So these, and I'm hoping I'm pronouncing this correctly. Awal Rizuku is an Ethiopian American contemporary artist, and this is in response to an installation that he did. Had some desert items inside, and it reminded me of, suddenly triggered a memory from my a scary memory from my childhood. Awal Izriku's rescued high cactus, I am certain, came from the sore same desert they body dragged my cousin Mark into, so as to long torture him for testifying against the released drug dealer he fell from. Desert flowers and ready rains flung spring curtain on the ground mixed with blood. No police, no police protection, and no pre-cut picture to a dry sky that also won't care about his childhood or abandoned cars, another fallen body foiled, rotting as food for animal. His flowers' hallucinatory color sprouting is full wheel away from Duchamp's detox clinics, now courtesy of the artist. This room, my room, reimagines his hour taken from all hours. I know I heard him scream white, woke loud into full silence and wondered what was real, or where the tree fell and how many times it did fall before he was heard. Humans, a force of nature, no matter what anyone stops to tell you. Force from nature. Greening is grief too. You times two. Sorry, a lot of these are dark. Which, by the way, I am going to say I'm moving out of that darkness, finally. Now that I'm screenwriting, it's very exciting to find that other side of me. Also, Douglas, identity. We have several sides to ourselves, don't we? This is called Farewell Face and one of Picasso's. You like to drink water from the neighbor's army green hose because it still smells like summer hitting the hot ground. Here you are one age, whipped wind or statistic, long before you can be at all a woman, before dusk's late curfew sleepover, or simply because mom was pill happy home with dad. You boot break her oval makeup mirror without anger, scatter its new scant face shapes into the far yard earth between a petting zoo of plants that needed to see sky's fresh violence. Dirt-colored hair stuck to your cheek. From the d'Avignon room of one spectator, mom tried for her sake, not yours, to stop your bad side that seemed unstoppable. An inebriated sea breaking itself apart, the form of you unrecognizable and disappearing over and over into summer's darkening olivine body of sand. Mother was always staring at her beautiful face in mirrors as if it might change. Her rear view one, half cocked back at her while driving, terrified me. Faces slowed or sped by us, back of a redhead, and Apple's half face forward, floating baby nose, eyes aligned with ears, only sunglasses, like twin poker cards turned. Picasso knew so well what he had in front of him. Women either affirmed or denied belonging. That's why his painting could destroy them. I really didn't know which mother face was reflected in the windshield ahead, or which bottle blue eye was opened on the moving road. Okay, so just a few more poems. You know, Diane Arbus, you might be familiar with her photograph. She wanted to normalize the marginalized groups. And she was actually known for befriending her subjects because she didn't want to objectify them, even though it seems like a lot of people say that, you know, she was taking advantage. But she was really interested in going somewhere, as she says, that she's never been. And she was really interested in that psychological intensity. And for some reason, it just struck me that somehow she was tied to this, to COVID. Style of imprisonment. Diane Arbus predicted this virus. She worked her way into the winter's dyad sideshow of homeless tents and full metal shopping carts, tipping their amidship cloth sails. To the next passerby wearing my same shirt, I said, go and goad the drunkalogue. Be dissonance, like dropping your unbelted pants at the movies. An act of betrayal will get you an ignored corpse in the creek's icebox scene, smiling for no reason. Since I couldn't be dead honest with myself between rooms. since words themselves act as deeds, unwilling to break bread for bird song. The paradox skin still shines in the same direction, but hardwired we are after the warfare referendum before Venus de Malo held her river hair sex down, an outcast of blown on beauty I once saw in the cruelty of schoolgirls against girls. How shells and coffee ground share a planter's home soil. Bodies, flux, asphyxia, suffering, for instance, for stakes of blame. The last photograph you saw shows a suicide shrug, shoulders bare, and a virus blur in both eyes. Even Jane Mansfield's hair bow and my doctor's Venice bird mask hung for one cousin plague are not alone. It's her best shot at showing freaks alike, where nature mirrors our bathroom life and sets fire to itself in the heat. Okay, how am I doing on time? Good. I think 3 more. And this one's short. This one I've read before. It's kind of a little bit of an Ars Poetica, a poem about poetry. It's called Poetry Substance Abuse is a Darwin Finch Drawing. In motion or air of abandon, when you least expect it, much like when they say your next love will come to you when you least expect it. Your face stopping there at the equatorial bulge because its pull at either seam is one continuous seamount ring of fire already put out on your head, leaving you somewhere vocabulary continuum caught on pause, the pause button the same as the mute button, same as all faith in God is no faith. Same as your last thought swallowed silver before it is said out loud to a tiny hand mirror sleeping in the involuntary dark inside your purse, big enough for the birdcage thrown out in the alley trash heap. Its past songs now more a consequence of gravity than feathers' defiance. Perfect is your perfect animal shape's imperfection in the making. Every dark matter's silent distribution shape and the origin tangle. Sweet physical chaos, make whatever creates unequal harm. I don't know why that makes me laugh. Sorry. Okay, I think I'm actually going to just end with this poem from my chapbook that I'm so grateful to What Books Press. They're really, I just feel so honored to be among the writers and just to say we have so many new writers coming up that are exciting. So this chapbook is home to a lot of poems that I was originally going to put into a book and then, got sort of seduced by all these ekphrastic poems. So I'm grateful that they found a home. This is called White Doll, and the epigraph is Joseph Brodsky. The real history of consciousness starts with one's first lie. White doll. I lied to the mirror, holding my only Barbie doll by the pink neck, her fixed eyes open, parents in the other room. There was a commotion of high radioactive white clouds thirsting above, and my body way down below with dusk hours, inconsolable light between the furniture. Somewhere behind the fish tank in the first knuckle blue darkness where doll slept on the bare floor, you could see my brother kneeling in the clockwise picture, in the weather vane away place. See the drowning world there, always in mourning, hurtling itself free from us like endangered bees from a broken jar. At that point, everyone remained silent in the house, listening to day and listening to night. I could do anything and it wouldn't matter, all child, feeling myself both boy and girl, full of fear stories no one told me to tell. The doll's body, shiny and insufferable is the future. Thank you.